I'm home. I have my Conspiracy Club shirt on, and yet another book that is not entirely about conspiracy theories. I finished Hoax, A History of Deception by Ian Tattersall and Peter Nevraumont. This one is more, I think, a little more suited for maybe a high school reader. It's has lots of good like primary pictures and different things of it, and it breaks down the different hoaxes very simply and very kind of well explained, but in a more non-technical way. I guess they're very basically kind of gone over. There's not a whole lot of real deep detail in any of these. So I think this is a good one that if you're looking for just a nice light little read about something like hoaxes and different things, or you're looking for a high school library type book, this is a good one. This is good for that sort of a thing, and good for kind of a casual introduction for hoaxes. The most interesting thing is why some people try to pull these different types of hoaxes off. Now, this book has really, really good bibliography in the back, too, for further reading. So this was just well-researched in general and very well done. I believe he's a curator of the Division of Anthropology at the Natural History Museum in New York City. So this one is going to be a well-researched book. Still not exactly conspiracy theories. They talk about conspiracy theories a little bit as just one of the kind of sections, but it's more just hoaxes, and it's more just some of the things that are conspiracy theories are considered hoaxes as well. So it's kind of a weird overlap, that a thing that might be a hoax might not be a conspiracy theory, then it might be conspiracy theory, not a hoax. It just has that weird vibe to it. Then another one that I had picked up, I finished, Kiss of Death, True Cases of Fatal Attraction by Ritchie. This one is kind of like the other one I read that was Crimes of Passion. This one is murders involving couples, basically, that one partner kills the other. And there are some wild ones in here. And I'd heard of the one, I've watched a short documentary before about the one with the parachute, that apparently there have been two people that tried to kill their partners. One succeeded, one didn't. Tried to kill their partners by sabotaging their parachutes, which is just the wildest of all. That's just to me, that is just a strange way to try to kill somebody, is sabotaging their parachute. And the fact that it's happened twice, that the one kind of copied the other, apparently. Twice this has happened. Seems to me, that's wild. Like, that is not a normal way to do things, and the fact that two people have tried to do that is amazing, and one of the people that they tried to kill survived. So, the whole thing. But there's some other interesting ones that a lot of them I had heard of before, and some of them I had never really heard of before, but I really don't understand why we don't hear more about some of them, because they're quite salacious. This is a British author, I believe, because the way she was speaking, it sounded very much like she was a British author. Very even-handed. There were a few that you could tell the way that she was leaning in the cases and different things, but a very even-handed account of some relationships that went terribly, terribly wrong. And if I've learned one thing, do not parachute ever with anyone. So this one, very good for a true crime type of thing. So two nonfictions that were pretty good. I'm in the middle of The Abominable and the Dan Simmons Abominable, and boy, do I have some things to say about that one. That one has got some problems, but not problems that they were avoidable problems in it. Easily avoidable problems that, if someone had just done something a little bit different, they could have been avoided. And there's something that I am seeing on reviews of them as well that I was like, yeah, that whole situation could have been avoided if you all had just marketed it and done things just a little differently in how you presented that book. But I'm in the middle of that one, which is 650 some odd pages, so it's quite the monster at this point in time. And have moved on to another conspiracy theory book. With this one actually might be about conspiracy theories because it is about why people believe them. So that one might actually be what it's supposed to be. I keep hitting things that are not what they are supposed to be about, and that's one of the problems with the Abominable that I'm going to talk about is that was marketed under false pretenses a bit, and I can see why people were a little annoyed. So I'm moving on to some things, trying to get that Dan Simmons book finished. I finished two nonfiction that were quite good, but a little on the lighter end of books, and not as much for me to say about them because they were quite good. That's always the thing. When the book is decent, you really don't have as much to say about it as when a book fails or has some major flaws. That's when you actually have some really interesting stuff to say. So I will try to get finished on that Dan Simmons book, and we're about to move into August too, so there's going to be some books with some interesting topics, mainly because I'm reading Go Ask Alice, which I have some feelings about that author. So we'll be moving on to that and some glorious trash pretty soon, and lots of Bigfoot books maybe, but that Dan Simmons one kind of went off the rails quickly. But moving on through summer,